see an amazing place. Feels like a dream. A place of many wonders. And full of life. I open my eyes. Earth is our Pandora.
In the deep Amazon, the jaguar moves like a shadow. With weight, every step measured, every breath. Here, water is more than relief. It is information carrying sense and signals from everything. When the jaguar leaves the water, it leaves no announcement behind. Only the memory of movement. High above the forest floor, the harpy eagle rules a different world. When the harpy eagle commits to flight, the forest feels it because this is not speed born of panic. But for the harpy eagle, flight is not escape, but control, a measured conversation with gravity that ends exactly where it intends. In these flooded forests, the anaconda does not chase time. It becomes part of the water itself. Movement here is deliberate and economical, because for the anaconda, energy saved is power stored. And the water hides both the hunter and its intent. In a forest driven by urgency, the sloth survives by refusing to rush, turning patience into protection, and every movement costs energy here. And the sloth spends it wisely, trading speed for safety, and in the upper reaches of the forest. Survival does not always belong to the fast, but to those who move so little that the world simply moves around them. At the forest floor, life becomes small, but no less powerful, where a creature measured in centimeters carries warnings written in color and stillness. On the forest floor, hesitation is a defense. Because for a creature this small, being seen at the wrong moment can mean everything. In a world built from shadows and moisture, survival is often decided not by movement. High in the canopy, the howler monkey does not rely on speed or stealth, but on presence. Once the message is delivered, the forest answers with quiet, and the howler returns to feeding its present along the forest's edge. The giant anteater follows scent rather than sight, using strength and specialization to unlock food sources hidden beneath the soil. Built for a narrow purpose, the anteater feeds with efficiency rather than haste, taking only what it needs before moving on. With its needs met, the giant anteater leaves without urgency, trusting the forest to recover behind it. In these muddy rivers where vision fails, the Amazon River dolphin navigates by memory and sound. Here the river dolphin does not rush, reading the bends and currents like familiar paths, trusting the water to guide it where sight cannot. When the dolphin disappears, the river gives nothing away, because in the Amazon, even the largest fashions. As daylight fades, the tapir emerges, a relic of an older world moving carefully between. For the tapir, dusk is a balance point, a moment to drink and listen. When the tapir leaves the river, it carries nothing with it but scent and memory. In the flooded forests, the manatee moves with the patience of the water itself, a quiet giant shaped not for speed. Feeding here is not a race, but a ritual where the manatee spends hours grazing, slowly turning patience to. When the manatee disappears, the flooded forest keeps no record, because in the Amazon, the largest lives move gently at the boundary between land and water. The capybara begins its day without urgency, relying on calm community and familiarity with the river. Comfortable in both worlds, the capybara treats water not as refuge or threat, but as an extension of its home, of the capybara. For the capybara's safety lies not in speed, but in awareness, and each quiet morning is a reminder that, so where the river opens into light, the giant river otter brings energy to the Amazon's waters. Turning, always alert, the giant river otter reads the river constantly, combining playfulness with vigilance in waters. When the otter dives, the river closes behind it, because in the Amazon, even the most energetic lives leave only brief traces on the surface. In the crowded understory, the peccary advances by awareness rather than force, reading scent and sound where visibility lasts only a few steps. For the peccary, the forest speaks through scent and vibration, and every pause is a moment to decide thanks. When the peccary leaves the clearing, the forest absorbs it completely, because here survival depends on knowing. Among the branches, the tree boa survives by becoming part of the forest itself, moving so little that prey and predator alike forget it is there. Movement in the canopy is never wasted, and the tree boa advances only when the forest gives permission, trading speed for certainty. When the tree boa stops, it does not rest. It waits, trusting camouflage and patience to do what speed never. On the forest floor, the centipede hunts without sound or hesitation, a many-legged reminder that dinkle. Every step is information, and for the centipede, the forest floor is read through vibration, and when the centipede vanishes, the forest. At the edge of forest and water, the basilisk relies on speed and timing, turning a moment of motion into a scale in a landscape where hesitation can be costly. Once the dash is over, the basilisk returns to stillness. Because in the Amazon, survival often depends on knowing. In the end, the basilisk survives not by running forever, but by knowing when speed has done its job, and stillness must take over. Laser as night settles over the forest floor. The Bushmaster does not hunt by pursuit, but by... In the darkness, the Bushmaster reads the forest through vibration and scent, conserving every movement. When the moment passes, the Bushmaster remains. Because in the Amazon, night survival often high among the branches. The tamarind survives through agility and awareness, a small body moving carefully through a forest that rewards attention over size. For the tamarind, every meal is taken with caution, because even the smallest pause in awareness can turn opportunity into risk. When the tamarind moves on, it leaves no trace behind, because in the upper forest, on the forest floor, the armadillo moves with quiet determination, protected not by speed. Every step the armadillo takes is guided by scent and touch, a careful search for food carried out beneath the constant. When the armadillo leaves, the forest closes over its path, because in the Amazon, even the most beneath the surface. The piranha is not chaos, but calculation, a solitary hunter moving carefully through limited visibilities. In water this opaque, the piranha survives by precision holding position, reading vibration. When the piranha disappears, the river gives nothing away, because in these waters, survival depends not on spectacle. At the smallest scale, the Amazon runs on determination, where even a single ant carries the weight of the forest forward. Even at this scale, progress is deliberate as the ant adapts to every obstacle, turning persistence into forward motion without hesitation. When the ant disappears into the trail, its work continues unseen. Because in the Amazon, even the small cycle, always searching, the coati reads the forest through scent and sound, turning curiosity in for the coati. Foraging is never just feeding, but constant evaluation, a rhythm of movement and pause shaped by curiosity and caution. When the coati disappears, the forest closes in behind it. Because in the Amazon, even the most curious lives, as night settles in, the hog-nosed skunk begins its search, relying on scent and strength rather than speed. A solitary forager built for the night, the hog-nosed skunk works the ground patiently, turning strength and scent into a steady advantage. When the forest grows quiet, when the skunk leaves the clearing, the night closes behind it. Because in the Amazon, after dark, survival belongs to jungle. In the still waters of the Amazon night, the caiman waits without movement, a patient presence. Guided by pressure and vibration, the caiman moves without urgency, conserving energy and waiting for the example. When the caiman finally disappears, the water keeps its secret. Because in the Amazon night, before the forest wakes, the tapir moves carefully through shadow, relying on silence and alertness in a world where the smallest sound can decide survival. For the tapir feeding is always measured, because every moment spent eating is weighed against the need. When the tapir finally moves, it does so without hesitation, because in the Amazon's dim hours, survival belongs. As the canopy wakes, the toucan becomes a signal of morning. Its presence bright against the green, with a bill built for reach rather than force, the toucan feeds efficiently, turning balance and precision into an advantage. High above the forest floor, when the toucan takes flight, it stitches the canopy together, carrying color and movement across the forest before dissolving once more into green. As daylight fades, the porcupine relies on caution rather than speed, crossing the canopy one careful step at it, for the porcupine progress is measured, each step chosen carefully, in a canopy where balance and patience are more valuable than speed. When the porcupine vanishes into the canopy, the forest accepts it without disturbance, because in the Amazon so. Among the branches, the capuchin relies on curiosity and intelligence, testing the forest piece away. For the capuchin, every pause is a question and every object a possibility, because intelligence here is measured both. When the capuchin moves on, it leaves questions behind rather than tracks, because in the Amazon canopy, along the flooded edges of the forest, the hoatzin survives not through speed or grace, but by holding on to clumsy in motion, but perfectly suited to its world. The hoatzin feeds where few others choose to linger, thriving in places shaped more by water than land. In the Amazon night, the glass frog survives by almost disappearing. A fragile life balanced between. Every adjustment is measured, because for the glass frog, even the smallest movement can mean the difference between. When the glass frog becomes still, the forest seems to forget it exists. When the morpho flies, the forest itself seems to blink, revealing sudden color where moments before there was only green. The morpho's color is not constant, but conditional, appearing only when light and movement align, a fleeting signal shaped by angle rather than pigment. When the morpho finally rests, its brilliance vanishes, reminding us that in the Amazon, even the brightest beauty. After the hunt, the anhinga returns to the air, drying its wings in stillness, because in the Amazons, as the light fades, the cane rat steps out to feed, moving carefully between cover and open ground, where caution matters as much as hunger. For the paka, every mouthful is taken under caution, because at the forest's edge, feeding and listening must happen at the same time. When danger nears, the paka does not hesitate, because in the Amazon's fading light survive, under the cover of darkness, the kinkajou comes alive, an agile night forager, moving through the canopy where vision fades and awareness becomes everything. For the kinkajou, feeding never dulls awareness, because in the canopy at night, every sound carries meaning. When the kinkajou moves on, the canopy closes behind it, because in the Amazon night, even the most agile lives pass through without leaving a trace. When darkness fully claims the forest, the night monkey takes over, reading the canopy within the darkness. Every sound is weighed, and the night monkey learns quickly which ones matter and which can be safely ignored. When the night monkey disappears, the canopy barely changes, because in the Amazon after dark, survival belongs to. At dawn, the agouti feeds with urgency and caution, knowing that every seed gathered and hidden is by hiding what it cannot eat. The agouti secures its future unknowingly, planting the next generation of forest with every careful cache. When the agouti leaves the cache behind, the forest remembers, because every hidden seed carries a built for precision. Rather than speed, the tamandua searches patiently, using strength and specialization to unearth. With every careful movement, the tamandua balances effort and reward, taking only what it needs. When the tamandua moves on, the forest repairs itself quickly, because in the Amazon, even disruption is in the middle layers of the forest. The squirrel monkey survives on speed and awareness, turning constant motion into protect. For the squirrel monkey, stillness is only temporary, because awareness here is measured in fractions of a second. When the squirrel monkey vanishes, the canopy barely settles, because in the Amazon survival, often basking between forest and river, the green iguana borrows warmth from the sun, conserving energy. In a world where stillness can be as valuable as speed, though it appears relaxed, the iguana never fully disengages, keeping watch on both land and water, where threats can arrive without warning. When danger breaks the calm, the iguana abandons stillness instantly, trusting water and speed to erase its presence. On the sunlit forest floor, the lizard survives in bursts, fast enough to escape notice. Then for this lizard, speed is a language spoken in seconds, followed by silence, long enough for the forest to forget it was ever their charge. When the lizard vanishes, the forest resumes its rhythm, because in the Amazon, survival often belongs to mantids. When night deepens, the silk moth takes to the air, brief and vulnerable, living its adult life in moments. Unlike creatures built for speed, the silk moth survives on timing, drifting through the night with no need to. When the silk moth comes to rest, the forest barely notices, because in the Amazon night, rarely seen and rarely alone, the bush dog moves through the Amazon by scent and silent. Guided by scent more than sight, the bush dog reads the forest like a map, piecing together information left behind by animals. When the bush dog vanishes into the forest, it leaves only scent behind, because in the fading light, the ocelot becomes almost invisible, its spotted coat and measured steps turning the forest. For the ocelot, hunting is not pursuit but patience, a careful narrowing of distance until the forest itself decides what happens next. When the moment passes, the ocelot moves on, because in the Amazon, knowing when not to strike is as important as knowing how. In the upper forest, the margay moves where few cats can follow, turning balance and agility into an advance. Unlike other cats, the margay can climb headfirst down trees, a rare adaptation that turns the... When the margay disappears, the canopy barely remembers the movement, because in the Amazon's upper world, survival belongs. As daylight drains from the forest, the peccary relies on awareness and resolve, moving carefully through. For the peccary, feeding never silences caution, because in the Amazon's dimming light, when the peccary leaves the clearing, the forest absorbs it without trace, because in the Amazon, survival depends not on force. In the deepest hours of night, the black caiman rules the river through stillness. Guided by pressure and vibration rather than sight, the black caiman moves only when it must. When the black caiman finally vanishes, the river gives nothing away, because in the Amazon night, the most powerful, when most of the forest sleeps, the opossum begins its work. A quiet survivor moving through the night by scent. Every pause is a calculation, because for the opossum, survival at night depends on knowing when to eat and when to listen. When the opossum disappears into the darkness, the forest remains unchanged, because in the Amazon night, above the forest, the harpy eagle waits. Surveying a world measured in height and size, every movement is deliberate, because for the harpy eagle, the decision to strike is never rushed. It is measured, confirmed, and absolute. When the harpy eagle leaves the branch, the forest feels the absence, because in the Amazon, the highest hunters move. With each call, the howler reinforces territory without moving, conserving energy while shaping the social map of the forest through sound alone. When the howler falls silent, the forest accepts the message, Because in the Amazon, dominance is often established, not by... In the quiet waters of the Amazon, the giant otter moves with confidence and curiosity. Always alert, the giant otter reads the water as it moves, balancing playfulness with precision in a habitat where every ripple can signal opportunity. When the giant otter disappears beneath the surface, the lake grows quiet again, because in the Amazon even the most know. At the forest's edge, the giant otter advances without haste, a specialist built for patience, strength, with a tongue built for speed and a body built for restraint. The giant anteater feeds efficiently, When the giant anteater moves on, the clearing heals quickly, because in the Amazon, even the largest specialists. In the flooded heart of the forest, the Amazonian manatee moves without urgency. A quiet grazer, even its breath is measured, because the manatee lives by conserving energy, moving through the flooded forest as gently as the water itself. When the manatee disappears into the flooded forest, the water closes quietly behind it. At the meeting point of forest and river, the jaguar moves with absolute control, a predator built not for chase unsolved chihuahuas. The audio captures a serene yet tense, humid riverside atmosphere, gentle water lapping against. When the jaguar chooses not to strike, the forest never knows how close it came. Because in the Amazon, in the bending channels of the Amazon, the river dolphin moves between worlds, appearing only briefly before. Guided by sound more than sight, the river dolphin reads the bends and depths, turning murky water. When the river dolphin disappears, the water closes without a trace. Because in the Amazon, the river, as darkness settles along the river, the tapir returns to ancient paths. A gentle giant moving, though massive and calm, the tapir never forgets caution. Because along the river at night, listening can matter more than strength.